Come see this in 1574, Low Risk Warplanning, Peace Through Strength, Known Unknown Costs. This is a series where I summarize rantatonne posts made up of at least 3 things I have read, seen, or heard. First question, was Project Ukraine an IRL classroom? Shortly after Project Ukraine really kicked off, I started wondering that there's no way the puppeteers think that Ukraine can actually take on Russia. They also do not believe that Russia has the ability to take over Ukraine and then spread out into the rest of Europe. Yes, they thought this could spark regime change in Russia, but the actual Project Ukraine, what was the actual point? Made some sense if they're taking the system that they've set up mostly in the Middle East, where they go in and rubbleize a place through their warfare, and then they come in with a welfare state to rebuild the place, and that way they find ways to funnel money into the system and back into their own pockets. If you're doing it in Ukraine, which is a European country, the logistics are easier than going all the way to the Middle East, and you also don't have those cultural differences, even if you weren't just running out of countries to do this in the Middle East in. 2 videos in this section provide more evidence to why the warfare state might also be interested in extending the battle aspect of this. First is how the US military is learning from these battles going on between two modern militarily equipped forces fighting in an environment that they are more familiar with versus the desert in the Middle East. You can also avoid scandals like in Afghanistan, where they had to fly out interpreters and people they worked with to the tune of billions. Setting up Russia as this big bad bear right outside their doorstep would also lead to more support for the military, leading to increased spending, and then maybe the United Kingdom would be able to afford to feed the people on their submarines. Next question, does this unbelieving teetotaler signal a change in the show? Probably one of my favorite Christian drinking commentators in Emily Jashinsky is joined by one of my favorite atheist non-drinking ones in Michael Malice on her show After Party. Malice makes a good point in saying that when you're dealing with political theater, specifically international relations, most of the significant things are going on behind the scenes. And this is something the mainstream media and other people accept and agree on. Think about the reaction that happened when Trump and Vance had that spat with Zelensky in the Oval Office. You were like, oh, shock, I can't believe this is happening out. But no one was saying this never happens. They just said it never happens in front of the masses. But keeping that in mind, you can also be assured that what you're hearing about what's going on the battlefield is also not what's really going on. But the people making the decisions about what happens behind the scenes, they know. They have satellite imagery. They know who's going in there. They know the weapons that are being involved. They know the strengths of the militaries. They know Ukraine is taking a beating. But what they're going to do about it, I don't know for certain what informs that, but I know it's not caring about the health of the average Ukrainian person, let alone soldier. Last question, shouldn't it be your health, your choice? Notice how many of those who claim Putin's lack of care for his own people made Project Ukraine unavoidable will also push for the normalization of avoidable ailments. They claim that they really care about the general public compared to the secretive big pharma companies that are ruining healthcare. Then they'll support policy that denies and reduces ability to make individual health choices, claiming that anyone looking to profit from providing healthcare is somehow harmful to the body politic. In this section, Dr. Keith Smith of the Oklahoma Surgery Center explains how the cash price surgeries they offer drops costs by leaving the system that incentivizes insurance companies to want higher prices that also gives the hospitals the abilities to avoid taxes. When it comes to not listing things that are known, why wouldn't they just list these prices as a normal thing? And why wouldn't they have a ticker of the actual people who have passed in Ukraine like they had for the pandemic?